One of your favorite topics. This topic has been getting a lot of views on this channel and it's been helping this channel grow, so I decided that it's time to continue. We're gonna talk about how to speak English fast and understand native speakers. Because when you speak English fast, that means you're processing everything in your head faster. You kind of sound more natural. Of course, it is not something you have to do when you're just starting out with English. Don't try to speed everything up because people won't be able to understand you. But at some stage, when you already know what you're talking about, you just want to speed up because you want to keep up with the pace of native speakers. And a lot of native speakers tend to speak faster than people who just start or who are learning English. When you start speaking faster, you understand the way native speakers speak the language and you are able to understand what they actually mean, because sometimes people are like, oh my god, native speakers speak so fast and I don't really know what they're talking about because I can't understand. So once you figure out the techniques that they're using, once you figure out how to use them yourself, you will start understanding native speakers better and better. And today we're going to talk about some of those techniques. So if you're interested, continue watching this video, write things down. But before we proceed, like this video and subscribe to this channel if you're not yet subscribed and you're learning English, because this is one of the most common mistakes people make. They're not subscribed to this channel when learning English. Okay, let's do it. The first trick. Sometimes we say, I should have done this. Normally, like at school, they would teach us to contract things. So they would teach us to say, I should have done this. But again, when we're speaking English and when we try to sound like native speakers, the rule of thumb here, and rule of thumb is like what you normally would do, is to sit down and relax. And when you sit down, relax, you just don't want to speak like this. Should have is a little, well, it sounds natural, but still, it could be done easier. So what is an easy way? Shoulda. I should have done this. Just try pronouncing it yourself.
Maybe we should have done this online.
Again, another trick with English, whenever you hear something, try pronouncing it yourself, because just because you hear it doesn't mean you're going to use it. You're going to use it if you pronounce it and if your muscles are like, oh, this is the way it works. And it's like exercise. The more you exercise, the better you are at what you're doing. So pronounce with me. I should have done this. Shoulda. Okay, now we're talking about English that you can use in your daily life. We're not talking about English that you're going to use in the classroom or when you're passing an interview to Harvard. When you're speaking academically, you'll be like, I should have done this. But when you're like with your friends, when you're in the environment, I should have done this.
Oh, I should have done that this morning.
The same with could have and would have. I could have done this. I would have done this. Why I showed this like dance to you? Because again, English is very optimized for like singing. When I was doing a lot of singing classes, my singing teacher would tell me that I sing a lot better in English just because, you know, the way people speak English, it's like a song. They connect words. Shoulda, coulda, and it adds some rhythm. So practice with me. I should have done this. I could have done this. I would have done this. The next word is a preposition of. First of all, it's not of, it's of. We're gonna show some transcription here. So it's not this, it's not of, it's of. Cup of tea. But if you want to sound like a native speaker, if you listen to how they're saying this, they're saying it cup of tea. And this is very British, cup of tea. Okay, American, a lot of stuff. Cup of tea. It's no longer of, it's just cup of tea.
Cup of tea.
A lot of stuff.
It's got a lot of stuff.
So whenever you have of in your phrase, and the next word starts with a consonant, there is a big chance that a native speaker would replace of with a lot of stuff.
I did a lot of stuff here too.
A lot of water.
It's a lot of water.
A lot of trash.
A lot of trash.
A lot of clothes.
Not a lot of clothes.
If you want to learn more English with me, if you want more materials that you can use while watching my classes, I have a huge kind of huge workbook. It's over 180 pages and it has a lot of exercises that you can practice with. It has a lot of tables that have idioms or other vocabulary that you can use. It has a lot of grammatical explanations. So I highly recommend you to go ahead and purchase this book. It's less than $8 and it will really enhance your learning experience. And this is something that I've done a year ago and the reviews about this workbook have been amazing. So the link will be down below. Now let's talk about reductions. That are words that sound with an H, like him, her, he, have. And if they are unstressed in a sentence, and remember in English when we're pronouncing something like a sentence, we have a stress that goes on a particular word. There is no like stress in every single word. So when these words go unstressed, people tend to just omit the letter H and the sound that it corresponds to. Example, I tell her about that. Very kind of, I don't know, artificial. Not artificial way, native speaker way. I tell her about that. So we don't even have two words here. We don't have tell and we don't have her. We have one word that is tell her.
Tell her.
I tell her that. Tell her.
Tell her.
Instead of I tell him, I say I tell him. Again, new word. I tell him.
Tell him.
I told her? Nah. I told her. Let's look at more examples. Was he there? Just try yourself. Was he there? Say it in a native speaker way. Was he there? Was he? Was he there? We went to a party yesterday. Was he there?
Why was he there?
And once you see, like, now you understand. Like, if I showed this phrase to myself maybe like 7 years ago, I would be like, what is she saying? Just because I didn't know all the tricks. And now you know them. Write them down. Don't forget about them. At first, he was surprised. At first, he was surprised. First, he instead of first, he.
At first, he was angry.
What have we done? What have we done? I saw him yesterday. I saw him yesterday.
Saw him yesterday at the bank.
Faster, smoother, more natural. Let's move further. Let's talk about intonation. Oh, it is so difficult. Which means, yeah, it's difficult. But when you say, oh, it's so difficult. Sarcasm. It is not difficult at all. Again, the way you stress words, the way you phrase something is really, really important. Now let's make a quick exercise. What do I mean here? Yeah, the movie was really scary. That's number one. Number two. Yeah, the movie was really scary. What did I mean in both sentences? First sentence that it was scary, second sentence that it wasn't scary at all. In one of my previous videos, we talked about assimilation, and if you haven't watched that video, the link will be down below. Please don't forget to watch the whole series about how to speak English fast and understand native speakers. It's really important. And the example of assimilation was don't you versus don't ya, or meet you versus meet ya. That was assimilation. Today I'm going to talk about some other examples that are maybe not so obvious. Contraction of the phrase what are you sounds like whatcha. What you doing? Instead of what are you doing, you say what you doing. What are you talking about? What you talking about. What are you saying? What you saying. Contraction of what have you sounds like whatcha. What you've been doing. What you've been up to. Whatcha is also a contraction of a phrase what do you. What do you think? What you think. What do you want to do now? What you want to do now. And whatcha is also a contraction of what you. Do what you gotta do. Instead of do what you got to do.
Do what you gotta do.
Again, this is something that you learn as you go. They all sound like whatcha, but you will guess the meaning from the context and you're gonna get there. It's not that difficult, but once you know the trick, it makes it easier. Thank you guys so much for watching this video up to the very end. I really appreciate it. And again, if you're not yet subscribed to this channel, please subscribe. And if you haven't liked this video in the beginning, why haven't you done that? Please like it. I will see you very soon in my next videos. Bye bye.